Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about body part splits for athletes.
So some really nice fist bumps on camera.
Alright, so body part splits. This is something when I get a new client or anything like that, biggest thing people ask me, because everyone is stuck in the bodybuilding way of doing things, which doesn't exactly work for an athlete. So what I mean by that, the bodybuilding way, I'm sure anybody watching this has heard of it. Monday's always chest day, Tuesday's back day, shoulders, arms, legs, maybe an ab day if they're really ambitious. That sort of thing where it ends up being a 5 or 6 day split, working as many exercises that you could think of for your chest on chest day, as many as you could think of on your back for back day, and so on. Now, while that can work for building muscle it's not the most efficient, and also definitely not the best for an athlete. Couple downsides with that plan. Number one, it makes you very sore. Something that's how I started working out when I was like 15, 16. That's, the plan that everyone started to do. Monday's International Chest Day. So doing that, I noticed a huge thing, and from everyone that I talked to, you just end up doing too much on one body part to be able to move for the whole next week afterwards. And I know normally, soreness is common, the first couple workouts while your body adapts. But I've done those plans for years until I figured out powerlifting, methods, templates, all that sort of stuff. You end up doing so much because you're trying to cram in hitting every part of incline bench, flat bench, decline, flies, going upward flies, all different. Every chest exercise you can think of, you're sore until your next chest day, and that really takes away from everything if you're trying to be an athlete, if you're trying to move, if you're trying to perform in anything. If you can't use your chest for a whole week, you're going to suck at practice. That's pretty obvious. And applies to everything, every body part. So a layout that I'm a big fan of is splitting things up into upper body day and lower body day. Similar to the West Side conjugated method type of thing. I've been seeing a lot of people online recently like roasting that whole program. I'm not really sure why. It works. I'm a big fan of having explosive days, having heavy days, split things in upper body, lower body. It's really effective. The biggest thing though, to go to my first point about why I'm not the biggest fan of bodybuilding programs for everybody, is now a program that I followed originally that got me into this idea was Joe DeFranco's West Side for Skinny Bastards. It was amazing. Really changed my whole outlook on all of this. Now he has a couple different templates. I think there's 3 or 4 out now. But the thing that I like and I really believe in was he would have you do one big movement and then accessory movements. So for something that I like doing, because I kind of took his idea, made it my own thing after doing it for months. So how I like to do things for an upper body day, for example, one big upper body movement, whether if you like to bench works. Benching isn't my favorite, so I'll pick something like a Pendlay row, finding a lot of mass gains through that, a lot of strength gains. So that's a great one. I'm more focused on working the back. So a row, pull up, a big upper body move like that, followed by your accessories. So depending on that, so I know my 2 options there were chest and back for the big motion, opposing muscle groups. So you're going to have to work the other side, but it doesn't have to be the main heavy focus. So like on my programming, for example, my own personal plan, I'll do a heavy 5x5 for Pendlay rows, and on the chest side of things, I'll just hit volume on flies. For fighting, the stuff that I do, kickboxing, or especially jiu-jitsu, you don't have to push. You actually don't want to push. So bench pressing strength isn't all that important. For Muay Thai, clinching, chest flies work great. So the high volume on that sort of exercise to hit it on the other end, it works out really well. And I would do the same thing too if you were going to put a big focus on the bench, if you wanted to focus on powerlifting or something like that, or if you just liked hitting the bench. Just hit more volume on the back. It'll even out, definitely. So yeah, with my setup here, so I'm hitting 5x5 on Pendlay rows, the flies, hitting high volume, sets of 20, 15, 10, still going up in weight, still lifting pretty heavy, but want to just work in the burn, get the blood flowing to the muscles, looking for growth on that sort of thing instead of the raw power on it. Now, I told you these exercises a little bit out of order because we're going to go back to the back, but I just wanted to cover the opposing muscle groups right there. So, how it actually is laid out. Hitting Pendlay rows, 5x5, heavy as I could get, 5 clean ones. Even if I have to shake things off in between reps, going heavy on it. Now that's a lot of lats, middle of the back. Got to hit the upper back too. Big fan of face pulls. I'm a big fan. I see a lot of people kind of pull them to their throat. They'll have the rope, pull it down here. It's okay. Hits the rear delts, hits the traps, but I want to pull it more towards the face. So if you reverse the grip on one of those rope handles for a cable machine, reverse the grip so your thumb's towards you, pulling it in like you're flexing the guns, and pulling it more towards your forehead or above your forehead. Immediately you'll feel it in your shoulders, and it also gets the whole benefit of hitting your upper back, rear delts, traps, all that stuff, everything that's going to pull your shoulders back. Awesome for your posture. Hey, you hit all the upper back stuff, but then you also get the added bonus of getting in some extra shoulder work too, which is always good. So with those, got the back covered, right? Big move for the middle of the back, and the lats and the upper back. Hit the flies for the front. Now, something that I forgot to mention, actually, in between this program. Now, I'm going to talk about it in another video, maybe this Thursday's, but something that I'm a big fan of, actually applies to this method too, is training frequency. That's a big benefit of splitting things up into upper body and lower body, because as long as things aren't sore, as long as you can still move, you can keep training. So that's what helps about, just doing some heavy rows, feeling really effective at it, feeling really strong, and letting that rest. It's not, I'll feel like I did some work, but it's not going to stop me from moving or doing anything, or rolling in jiu-jitsu or doing any kickboxing, anything like that. So the method I'm a big fan of for that frequency is Pavel Tatsulin talks about it a lot with greasing the groove. That whole idea of just taking an exercise you can do. He likes to cut the weight in half and then just do it constantly. So like for something like a pull-up, he'll just, if your max is 10 pull-ups, he'll just do 5 pull-ups a day constantly. Like he'll do that like 20 times a day, but just doing 5 at a time. That helps a lot with the neurological side of things. When you're doing big compound lifts, a lot of your muscles are moving at the same time. A lot more different than just like a bicep curl where it's just your bicep working. So for some exercises like that, being very frequent helps. That's also going to help get the volume for gaining size. If you can move more weight more often, then you're going to get stronger that way too. It's not always about just hitting the PRs, even though those are super fun. I'm guilty of trying to chase those too. But, let's say my max deadlift is 425. So instead of doing one of those, if I knocked it down to 365 and hit a couple reps at that, I'm still going to be gaining strength. Even though I still recommend hitting PRs, it's awesome, feels fun, you're going to feel strong, it's motivating. But yeah, don't have to do that all the time. That's a big thing I like about 5x5s, but that's for another video. So anyway though, went way off track with that one. So, like I was saying, so we're doing Pendlay rows, face pulls, flies. The part I forgot to mention was pull-ups in between all of that. So using that greasing the groove method that Pavel talks about, in between every upper body exercise, doing 5 pull-ups. Yeah, easy enough. Doing just 5 at a time. I could do a decent amount if I just went for a set of them. But over the course of the whole workout, like over the course of a, let's just say a 45-minute workout, keeping things efficient, keeping it quick. If I'm doing these pull-ups in between each exercise, that's going to end up being like 40 pull-ups, and they're going to be 40 strong pull-ups because I'm only doing 5 at a time instead of, if I'm going for a set of 15 or something, if the first 8 look good, the next 3 are kind of garbage, the next 4 after that, I start cheating it, things like that. They get to be 5 awesome perfect form pull-ups, very strict. And that's really the goal, is trying to get more quality reps with higher difficulty. So after all that, right, so we hit the back, hit the chest, something for the shoulders. An example that I'm a big fan of, I really like lateral raises. Been doing them for years to hit the middle, because hitting the chest is going to hit the front delt. Everything with the back and all the pull-ups is going to hit the rear delts, so something for the middle is awesome. Recently, been finding a newfound love for overhead pressing. I still suck at it, but you'll see in the video that I was just, this past Strongman Sunday, got a log, so going to be working a lot on overhead pressing. Very excited about that. So things like overhead presses for reps, lateral raises, those are awesome, but something for the shoulders. And then after that, if you want to hit something extra for your biceps and triceps, if you just want some extra work, if you want to just get a good pump, those are always fun. And nothing wrong with that. You could always do that afterwards. So my main setup there ends up being 2 rows, face pulls, flies, lateral raises, overhead presses, and then all those pull-ups in between. So really 6 exercises, full upper body workout, and you're not going to be that sore the next day. You're going to be able to train, going to be able to perform, going to be able to do awesome at practice, and you're still definitely going to get stronger. Another big bonus I like about this is because you're only doing 1 or 2 exercises for each body part, there's still a whole backlog of other exercises that you can do. So like I was talking about, just doing a fly for chest day, not for chest day, but for my chest exercise. On the back burner, still have dips, love some dips. If I wanted to do dumbbell presses, incline bench, if I did want to do flat bench, wanted to do declines, just off the top of my head, there's like 5 good examples right there. So it lets you keep evolving and growing and progressing. Big thing too for this, because you want to be consistent more than anything. So it helps keep you from being bored. No matter how much I think flies are really effective and good for what I do, if I'm doing flies twice a week for the next 6 months, I'm gonna need some kind of change. So it's good having those other options. Want to find a balance. Stay consistent with something for 2-3 months, see some changes, and then once it starts to get a little stale, then switch it up. Or if you're hitting any kind of plateau, you definitely want to catch it before then. So something like that is a solid example of an upper body day that I love to do. So now, a lower body day, I know a lot of people might just be thinking like, well, it's just your legs. It's kind of weird to split that up. Not really though, it works out well. So I call lower body basically everything from the chest down, so legs and abs, or usually the core. I don't do much for just the abs. So for something like that, usually I'll pick a big move to start with for the legs. Just like similar to the upper body. So planning for this gets pretty fun. It gets pretty customizable. So big leg move, something like a squat or a deadlift. Awesome example. Either one works, but you want to be aware of what you're missing out on, so you can hit that in the accessories. So something like, I love doing deadlifts. So if I'm going to do a deadlift, I'm going to make sure I'm hitting leg extensions to catch up for what I'm missing, because all that's huge posterior chain move. Want to catch up with that on blasting the quads too. So just being aware of that, depending on what type of squat you're doing. If you're doing back squat, front squat, Zercher squats, like in that video, just want to be aware of what you're not hitting, because then that's where you're going to split it up. So instead of like hitting a huge back move, and then chest, shoulders, upper back, that sort of thing. Gonna do a big leg move, something for the quads, something for the hamstrings, glutes, something for the core, everything in the middle. So yeah, my usual setup like that. Still a big fan of the 5x5s for the main lift of the day. So something like that, if I was doing let's just say a squat for a 5x5. Then after that, I'm a big fan recently of leg extensions, just trying to isolate the quads, but something a little bit more interesting if you're trying to stay away from the machines. Big fan of reverse lunges. I want to make a whole video just on those, actually. For a while, a couple years ago, I had tendonitis in both my knees. Reverse lunges saved my life, let me still train my skinny legs. Yeah, something like that that's going to be more quad dominant, definitely. After that, straight leg deadlifts, absolutely love those too. And then something for everything in the middle. Anti-rotation exercises are great, where you really just loop the band around anything you can find, any kind of pole. Just one of those Elite FTS, that little red band, that thing's amazing. You can do so much with it. We just want to get some tension in it, hold it in the middle of your chest, arms out. I'll make another video all on that thing too, because it's hugely effective. It should feel similar to a plank, but you have resistance. You're fighting a pull on this thing. Also going to be building up your shoulder, abs in the front, obliques, lower back, all that good stuff. So yeah, something like that. So to summarize it, big leg move, squats or deadlifts, something for the quads, hamstrings. Oh, forgot to tell you about the glutes. Something like that now. You got some options. You could do like rack pulls, straight leg deadlifts. I'm a big fan of pull-throughs on the cable machines, something like that. But quads, glutes, hams, hitting all those, something for everything in the middle. That's disgusting. The spider just jumped on the camera. That's super gross. But anyway, so for the planning, right? So I was rambling on about why splitting things into upper body and lower body are awesome. So now, how this is going to work, how I like to program, and it's been really successful for me and my clients, is hitting more of volume on those days. Still getting heavy, but when a lot of people talk about like low weight, high reps, high weight, low reps, we're kind of looking for high weight, high reps. 5x5s are awesome, or anything like that, like rest pause sets, all stuff I'll get into eventually if you don't feel like looking it up yet. Yeah, so that for the upper body, lower body, and then a good day to test yourself, max out day. For me, that's Strongman Sunday, where we're really going to be hitting full body, everything. So, or for you, you know, if you just want to work out 3 days a week and just have a whole full body day where you're really pushing it, that works great too. Also though, if you don't do strongman stuff, but you're still looking to get strong, split things up like this, I would just like to rotate these plans around. So that's where I believe the West Side method really works, because you're having heavy upper body day, heavy lower body day, then a more dynamic speed upper body day, dynamic speed lower body day. And you get that rotation going with some different exercises. Or also too, you can just alternate things. So like I was saying, for my upper body day, I'm doing flies at a lot of volume one day. Other day we could be doing dips. You know, just taking the same template, but just kind of flip-flopping, switching exercises around. Maybe that second upper body day is more chest dominant. You know, could work really well. Yes, so in my experience, I've noticed so many gains doing this type of planning. A lot of my clients too have been getting great feedback because they can actually move and be active. Some of them that are a little bit newer to it, because I'll push them a little bit, make them lift some heavy weights, they'll be a little sore. But for some of the clients that are already in pretty good shape, or once they've adapted to the exercises, I'll have them doing some hardcore exercises, maybe even maxing out, hitting triples on stuff, heavy triples. Next day I'll see them, they're like, I'm not even sore. Then it's a little bit of a challenge to get them sore, but it's a good thing because they're still able to move, you know. Unless you're a bodybuilder and you could really afford to spend all day, every day in the gym, 6 days a week, hitting the split of everything, and like, okay, I'm sore for a week after leg day. If bodybuilding's your passion, if that's your thing, and you could afford to do that, then that's fine. Keep doing your thing. But if you want to be able to do things outside of the gym, any type of athlete, or I think this really applies to just general gym goers, because if it's hard enough to go to the gym to begin with, it's going to be really off-putting when, like, okay, I went to the gym once, then I couldn't walk for a week. Why would I go back? You know, it's very easy to skip after that. So if you're just doing enough just to activate everything, you'll build with it, keep it progressing, keep it tough, but you're going to be able to move, you're going to feel good later. Instead of just being all shot out till your next leg day, and then, you know, it's just downhill, I think, after that. So yeah, this type of planning applies to everybody. So to summarize, because I went off on a couple tangents there, splitting things up, upper body, lower body, picking one main lift for either of those, then the accessories are hitting every other muscle that's associated with that body group. And you could either rotate that 4 days a week, or something that I like to do, because on all my other days I'm doing kickboxing or jiu-jitsu. I lift 3 days a week, heavy strongman day, volume on upper body, volume on lower body. Works really well, great gains with it. Everyone that I've had do a program like this works for them too, so it should be able to work for anybody. Alright, so that's all I got for you today. So if you have any questions about this, I know I threw a lot of info, a lot of exercises at you. I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite exercises that I was talking about in a future video. I'm going to make videos dedicated to why they're awesome and how to do them, like I did with the Zercher squat and the sandbag loads. But if you have any questions on specific planning for yourself or anything like that, or like, what do I do with my shoulders if I'm doing this, blah, 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 yeah, just talk to me, reach out to me. I would love to help you out, because these plans are really flexible, but if you don't have any kind of guidelines, it could be tough. You want flexibility, because everyone has different goals, but also, if you're totally new, you need some idea. So yeah, just reach out to me. I would love to help you out. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll be back on Thursday.